guys, this is Bobo Jones, and it's Friday before 4th of July. I decided to take the day off, figured I'd go for a ride, and while I'm doing that, figured I'd record something. Got back from the Alps trip a couple weeks ago, and it was just ridiculously epic. It was super beautiful, and it's just unreal how beautiful that scenery is, and that it's just non-stop. Like, you're riding for 6 days and your complete disbelief at how beautiful things are just keeps going on and on and on, and new things keep coming up, and it's just unbelievable. And like I said in those videos, if you haven't seen them, check them out. They're not really like, I'm not talking during them, I just record over. It's more just to see the scenery. But I rented this bike. It had Angel GTs on it, but it had my wife on it, and it had full panniers on it. So 3 panniers plus my wife. My top box especially was filled with all of our like heavy shit, including like bottles of wine and stuff that we had. So it was definitely a crazy experience riding that heavy of a bike that was so top heavy. With my wife on it and everything, and going through the mountains on these non-stop switchback like razor blade turns. So that was a little rough, but it was so amazing, and I didn't drop the bike once. I'm happy. On some of the switchbacks I had to power out of them because I was tipping a little too much if a car was coming my way, and I had to go really like deep left turn, but nothing bad happened, and it was awesome. My wife was very comfortable the whole time. We didn't even really have too many like scary moments or anything like that. It was really just beautiful, and I highly recommend it. It was an expensive trip, I will say that, but it was so worth it. It's something I've been dreaming of doing for so long, so I'd say definitely go for it. So some other updates: my buddy who totaled his Speed Triple R bought a new Thruxton. He was going to get the R, but he didn't, but he's going to do a lot of the upgrades himself. He's doing the seat, he's doing the whole back end is coming off, he's putting Öhlins on the rear suspension, and he's doing some other cool stuff. So next week, hopefully, I will be reviewing that, and yeah, that should be awesome. I'm really excited about that. He got it in black. I did want him to get the R because I love the gold Öhlins rear suspension, and it just has better brakes. It's really funny. You have these discussions with people around, you know, he was thinking about getting a Duke 1290, but ultimately his wife said no. And that's just very interesting to me, because you think of a Thruxton versus a Duke 1290. Obviously, yes, the Duke 1290 encourages you to, you know, be a complete and utter dumbass, because it's so much fun to just rip that bike and scare yourself, and it's so fast and so insane. But the Duke also has insane brakes, right? The Duke has, you know, huge Brembos on it, the new 1290Rs. So in the situation he was in, where he was on the highway and crashed his bike because a car just drove into him, the classic, it's how both of my buddies crashed their bikes on the highway. Somebody didn't look and just went into them. But when you think about that, let's say you're going the same speed and you're splitting at the same speed in a Thruxton, standard Thruxton with the standard kind of like little disc brakes, or you're on a Duke with the Brembo going the same speed. The Duke's lighter and has way bigger brakes, so it's just going to stop you better. So in that case, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why this idea that, you know, slower bikes are somehow safer? The Duke moves more easily, the Duke brakes more easily, the Duke has better technology on it. It's way more maneuverable than the Thruxton. The riding position even is you can see more and kind of react a little bit more quickly, because the Thruxton's a little more forward like this. So this whole thing about like, no, that bike's you know, too fast. In all of my friends, the way they've gotten in accidents is people cutting them off. None of them are getting in accidents when they're just being ridiculous by themselves on the street and just driving like an asshole. It's always because they're driving fine and somebody cuts them off. It's happened to me twice on Lincoln Boulevard, and I was able to, at both times it happened on my Tiger 800, and I hit them at 5 miles an hour, let's say, on my Tiger 800. I didn't drop the bike either time. Same thing, 2 women just didn't look, didn't signal, just went into me in my lane. Had I had this Beamer, I wouldn't have even hit them, because the brakes are so good on this, like 10,000 times better than my Tiger 800, that I wouldn't have even hit them. But on my, nothing would have happened on this. But had he been on a worse bike, had he been on his Thruxton, his Speed Triple R had Brembos, had he been on his Thruxton, the accident might have been way worse for him, right? Because he wouldn't have been able to even brake as much. He said the bike, even with ABS, was like pulling him all the way forward. So I just think this whole thing about, you know, people's perceptions that like classic bikes, oh, I'll start on a classic bike because, you know, I don't think you should start on the 1290R, but I also think that everybody for their first bike should have something with ABS and something with decent brakes, and starting on something, you know, old with super shitty brakes is, I don't think, the way to go. So anyway, I had this whole debate with him about, you know, but in the same circumstance, your Thruxton would have done worse than your Speed Triple, and the Thruxton would have done way worse than but people don't understand it. Somehow people equate speed and power with danger, but at his level, where he's, you know, a fairly good, experienced rider, the lighter, more nimble, better brake thing is always going to be better than you know, the more cafe kind of thing. Now, safety aside, I think the Thruxton is beautiful. His bike is sick. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is fast, it is nimble, and, you know, it's way better looking than, I think, than a Duke 1290. Although the Duke's a little bit more my style, I'm not much of a classic guy, but from an objective point of view, the Thruxton is just a piece of artwork. So anyway, it's interesting. Let me know what you guys think on that kind of, you know, modern bike versus classic, slow bike versus fast bike in terms of safety. But I mean, my take is that the bikes with the newest technology and the biggest brakes that are the easiest to turn and that are super nimble are ultimately the safest, because the only thing that makes a bike safer than a car is that it's small and nimble, and you're able to get yourself out of situations because of the space you have that you'd never be able to get out of in a car, you know. So I don't know, that's my take. I talked about him for a while. I was like, but wait, what's your wife talking about? Like, in the same situation you got in an accident, you would have been in way better shape on a Duke 1290. Now, who knows? Maybe he would have been going way faster on a Duke 1290, so it wouldn't have mattered, or it would have been worse. But generally, when I'm in that situation and I'm splitting or something like that on this bike, I'm going at a reasonable speed, and he said he was too. So I don't know. I find it very interesting, people's perceptions of what a safe bike is versus a not safe bike. I just think it's really funny. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed the California coast. I'm still loving my XR, although I have been thinking about a 2.0 recently, about getting a 2.0 factory, the new one, the 2017 with the big TFT display. But no, still loving this bike. What are you doing? I don't know what he was doing. I guess he was trying to get back in, but didn't feel like signaling. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. This is Bobo Jones saying arrivederci. Have a good one. Please ride safe. And let me know if you have any other questions. And check out my Alps videos if you haven't already. But really curious to see what other people think about the safety issue. All right. Toodaloo. Bye.